Welcome to Thierry. We greatly appreciate your leadership. As always, we begin all things by acknowledging the original stewards of the various lands that we're on, and we also acknowledge our ancestors. We acknowledge all those who toiled without compassion or compensation, and we acknowledge all the elders and community stalwarts whose shoulders we stand on as we build, share, and learn together for our collective liberation and sovereignty. So Thierry, please introduce yourself to our viewers and listeners.
Hi, everybody. My name is Thierry Lindor. I'm the co-founder of FACE, the Federation of African Canadian Economics. And more recently, I'm the co-founder of an AI tech startup called Happly, which basically democratizes access to funding opportunity based on people's unique profile. We like to say it's kind of like Tinder, but instead of matching you with potential stalkers, it matches you with potential dollars.
Nice. So tell us about your origin of this work and how you're disrupting multiple ecosystems across Canada.
Well, that's a great question. Thank you, Queen Sarah, for asking me. The genesis behind Happily, and if we start even with the genesis behind FACE, the idea was to create a federation that was pan-Canadian that did not wait or ask for our fair share of funding, but demanded our fair share of funding. So that's step number one, where we said we demand to have at first we asked for a couple of billions, and then we said, all right, we'll start with a couple of millions, and we landed an envelope of $330 million with and created the Black Entrepreneurship Program with the Canadian government. But anyways, that's a different discussion for another day. But it's really Black IP. The IP, the intellectual property behind the Black Entrepreneurship Program resides in three co-founders. So I want to give a big shout out to my co-founder, Tiffany Callender, who's also the CEO of FACE, and Louis Edgar out of Concept, who's also the CEO. And we went into the trenches, thought about this, visualized this, and then launched. And what this does is it's basically lending money to Black entrepreneurs from $10,000 to $250,000 to help them move their company from startup to scale up. And then in this process, we thought about, hey, what technology is going to be backing this? We want it to be an end-to-end Black experience. We didn't want to go, hey, let's call Microsoft and use Microsoft tool,
right,
these loans, or let's call, I don't know, Google or any kind of platform, Azure, right, that does these kind of management that could be customized. And I had been working on a prototype, which is Happly essentially, which manages applications. We call it an application relationship manager. So that was one fold, and enabled FACE to really expand and take flight. And on the other side, the matching portion of matching people with funding, I kept seeing my white friends start businesses, close them, start them, close them, like it was nobody's business. And every time I asked them, how are you doing this? Because when I start a business, I put my personal savings on the line. I maximize my credit card. Hell, I've sold real estate to start businesses. I've refinanced properties. And they were like, are you insane? They literally told me this. Are you crazy? And I said, what do you mean? How do you do it? And that was about 4 or 5 years ago. They said, we take grants. We take government grants. There's tons of money out there. You just don't know about it. And I was like, wait, what? So we said, you know what? There has to be a better way. We created a prototype, myself and my co-founders. We tested it on ourselves, Sarah, and I promise you, that's why we're like, this is the ultimate story, right? It's as if I say, hey, I have a magic potion that helps me lose weight. And I tested on myself, and suddenly you see me at my age with muscles everywhere in an 8-pack, right?
Right.
8-pack was $250,000. We tested the prototype on ourselves. We landed $250,000 of grant in our first year. We applied and we got the money. So we were able to spend our own money for the first time in our lives. And it matches you with grant, loan, pitch competition, accelerators, incubators, and now we're going to add procurements, government procurements very shortly.
That's amazing. Yeah. Congratulations. That sounds like something that's much needed within the community. I'm interested to know how important innovation to you is within your work.
Oh, that's such a great question. I think innovation is part of being human. I don't think innovation is sometimes and I think that's a big problem in our community. I believe that our parents, I'm sure Queen Sarah, I'm from Haiti. I'm a descendant of Haiti. I'm of African descent, period. But my father's born in Haiti and grew up in Chicago. And Haitian parents will tell you have to be an engineer, a doctor, a lawyer, classic stuff, teacher.
Right. Yeah.
The teacher's the last one that they'll accept, right? And then for me, it's kind of like the minute you talk about your parents, yeah, but mom, dad, what about creativity? It's like, oh no, artists are poor, because where they came from, creativity was associated with arts.
Right.
What about innovation? Well, innovation is science, might be complicated. And then that's also to go to the stars, right? Because they come from a generation where the word innovation was synonymous to it going on the moon. The word innovation for them was a complex tech word. The word creativity was associated with arts. I think we need to demystify these two and understand that A, creativity and innovation go hand in hand.
Right.
B, because we have melanin in our skin, we are God blessed by the sun. We're literally born to be creative, which means that we are intrinsically built for innovation. And innovation happens when a problem is faced. I'll give you a clear example, Sarah. The first person that thought of inventing the wheel, do you think it was a person watching somebody carry something, or it was somebody that was tired of carrying something?
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? If I go to fire, the first person that invented fire wasn't in his cave chilling with his homies. It was somebody that was out there cold in these streets a couple million, hundreds of thousands of years ago, and said, you know what? I need to find a way. And guess what? In a capitalistic society, the people that faces the most trials and tribulation are often Black. They are women. So I think creativity and innovation is not just part of who we are. It's inked. It's encrypted in our DNA. And because we are the ultimate survivors as a people, because we are the ultimate resiliency, the proof of human resiliency, if we start to adopt creativity and innovation and embrace it as something that is ours, I think we would move so fast when it comes to an entrepreneurship, because everybody knows if you have a business, the harder you solve a problem and the better you are at solving a problem, the more profits your company will make. And that's the story, right? So that's how I would define it. It was a long explanation, but I think that's how I would define innovation. And in Canada, at the very least, and in the US, and Africa as well, people with darker skin face more problem with people with lighter skin. It's not that white people don't face oppression. It's that they don't face oppression based on the color of their skin. Right. When you start to understand that, Queen Sarah, you say to yourself, it might make sense to invest in Black innovators, in Black women founders, because they are going through stuff that maybe certain people with less melanin in their skin don't go through daily. So they might not think about innovating that way, or they might try to steal the intellectual property of the people.
Yeah.
Another story.
So what inspires you most about your work?
The most inspiring thing for me about my work is genuinely when I hear people tell me, Thierry, I just quit my job because your platform matched me with 30,000 and I'm taking the leap. And I'm like, wow. I get DMs all the time. The company's been alive for 18 months. Thierry, I just matched with a pitch competition, and guess what? I won first place. And somebody sent us a message and won first place at a pitch competition in Toronto. They're from Alberta. So they took the trip, invested in themselves, took a gamble on themselves. They walked away with $15,000. And now they're like, you know what? I'm going to be able to side hustle this all the way to a full-time business full-time. And that's the problem a lot of time with Black entrepreneurs. A lot of our businesses are side hustle. We learn to move from that side hustle to the full-time business model that we all need to adopt, including Indigenous people, including women. And here's a scary statistic for you. In the U.S., the average Caucasian, white, Euro-descendant American has 17 times the wealth of Black Americans. right?
Right.
Roughly 100 and something, 140 or 50,000 compared to 15,000 for Black Americans. When you aggregate this, or actually aggregate this and compare Black entrepreneurs to white entrepreneurs, it actually dwindles down from 17 times to 3 times. So what that says to me is, imagine if you stop being, because that's what we are, right? We're consumers and we're, in my opinion, government earners. That's how I call us as a community. We have to from consumership to government earners to producers and wealth creators. And that alone reduces the wealth gap. And Black people, most of us, we have what's called a micro business or even a nano business, which means we employ self or 1 or 2 employees. There's a great study that came out of the United States, and the scientific literature is clear, Queen Sarah. If America was to help Black businesses scale from 1 to 3 employees and bring them to only 5 employees, meaning we only added 2 jobs per Black businesses in the U.S., it would create 600,000 jobs.
Okay.
It would reduce Black unemployment by 40%. And the last stat is the best one. It would actually inject into the U.S. economy $55 billion.
Oh, wow. That's incredible.
So imagine how good it is for the people that are the most oppressed in our society to do good as well. It's actually good for everybody. It creates for everybody. So I think that's what we need to drive. And that's what makes me, because your original question was, what makes you proud or happy about like building and what you bring into the community? These stats and moving the needle forward for Black entrepreneurship, Indigenous entrepreneurship, women entrepreneurship, LGBTQ2 plus entrepreneurship is what truly brings me joy, because our platform is really making a difference by democratizing funding options.
So what are some of the challenges or barriers that you face in your work, and how are you and your team working to overcome them?
Hey, classic barriers that I think most people are facing. We have to hustle, we have to work hard, and we have to self-care. The hustle, era, I think, is over. I think now we're moving towards a self-care era, which I'm super happy to embrace and see.
Absolutely.
You're right. So it's the code switching of always on my hustle and working hard and knocking at doors and closing deals and onboarding incubators and accelerators and telling us that our platform's good for the people you serve, and universities and nonprofits and even government entities. And then finding time to self-care, finding time to be human, finding time to have compassion for other people, to smile, even if I don't feel like smiling. When I see, somebody in the street, I walk by them, to have compassion also for my children, who are always seeing me work hard and still need me to be 100% there when I'm with them, right? So I think that has been the biggest challenge. For me, it's trying to be always on, and then taking the time to not always be on, and then going right back on when my children are there, because they deserve it. And they didn't ask me to take a leap of faith into this, culture called entrepreneurship. So they deserve my presence, my love, my attention, my undivided and full attention. So that's been challenging, Queen Sarah. I can't lie. And I'm sure it's challenging for a lot of entrepreneurs, because then your mental health takes a hit, and then you start to doubt yourself, question yourself. But yeah, I'd say that has been the biggest challenge.
It is. Yeah. Thank you for being so transparent about that, because far too often you hear about the pizza and the beer and the hustle and working all day, all night part of entrepreneurship, and you don't focus on your self-care as an entrepreneur. And my organization, Innovate Inclusion, actually has a Black Entrepreneurship Mental Health Initiative, where we focus on, helping entrepreneurs prioritize their mental health, because without your mental health, you're not going to be able to sustain yourself in your organization. So I think, it's commendable that you're bringing that up, and it's
Can you count me?
absolutely.
I'm supposed to. And I'm super open with my mental health. For somebody that has gone through depression, I've had some dark thoughts at times. Like really dark thoughts at time. And you're in a society that makes you invisible, and then eventually you start to wonder, am I invisible? And then sometimes we try to get gratification in all the wrong places. And I always say this to people: my mental health is non-negotiable. I've made that decision about 4 years ago. I don't negotiate with my partners. I don't negotiate with my clients. I don't negotiate with my children anymore. I don't even negotiate with my spouse. I don't negotiate with anybody, right?
Right.
Not even myself, because sometimes the toughest people are us on ourselves, right?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, absolutely. Entrepreneurs are tough on their own, and with the extreme highs and lows of your day. One day, you're closing hundreds of thousands, and next, you're trying to figure out how you're going to keep all your staff on board
and pay your mortgage. Yeah. So no, count me in. And again, for somebody that has gone through dark times and dark thoughts, like the resiliency of still being alive and still having my company be alive, like I see better days. I see hope. I see a great future. But I wouldn't have been able to see that without therapy. So I'm a big fan of therapy and mental health hacks that could bring you to anybody, especially in a world where we're combating racism. Racism doesn't take a break. It's like a 24-hour, right? It's a problem. And we only have like a finite time, each of us every day, to try to fight it. And it's exhausting, right? So count me in, Queen. I definitely want to join this Help for Entrepreneurs. I think it's so important. And it helps us scale our businesses. Like, because of VC, I would not invest in any companies or that are not seeing a therapist. Like, I think it would be so valuable for anybody that's in the investment space to say, hey, I'm not discriminating against your mental health, but I'm to invest with you. I want you to take a membership with Sarah's company. Because I would do that. If I had a VC tomorrow or a fund, I wouldn't force people to attend the meetings that you're holding, Queen. But what I would say is, I know for a fact that if athletes have sports therapists, but you want to be at your peak performance, you might need an athlete. Because entrepreneurship is a culture. Just any culture. If we plant a seed, if I plant a seed in my 6-year-old, because sometimes at governments, I spoken in Japan, Saudi Arabia, in Ottawa at Parliament, and I say you should start teaching entrepreneurship, especially for people from my community, at the age of 5 or 6. And they look at me like I'm crazy, Sarah. And I'm like, well, how come you don't think we're crazy when we put our children in basketball or football? And you actually think that those are going to save our lives, though we know that 70% of athletes grow broke. And now I'm talking about something for Black and brown people, or even white people, that actually challenge us mentally. And you can be an entrepreneur till you're 80. So why is that laughed at? But putting our bodies on the line and having short careers, if any careers at all, is a guaranteed truth. I just find it very weird that elected officials won't invest in starting sneaker businesses, car businesses, barbershop. Like, that would reduce payments in a heartbeat. STEM programs, right? But alongside with that, mental health program at a very young age, so that when you do start a business, mental health becomes just like making it in the NBA and having your sports therapist. Like, of course, I have a sports therapist. I play better in the playoff. Of course, I'm an entrepreneurship therapist. I perform better in pitch competition. I perform better at working events, right?
Or making decisions or facing challenges and all the things that come with that. It should be prioritized.
I want an invite. I'm going to wait. I'm waiting for that invite for your company.
Speaking of priorities, do you have a set of priorities that your team is working on right now?
Right now, we're hyper focused on truly our platform. We're proud to say help people apply. Actually, it helps people find money first and foremost.
Okay.
It helps you apply. by auto-populating most of the requests for you, leveraging NLP. So it fetches the information from the questionnaire that you answer when you create your profile on our platform, and it pushes that information on your request. So you don't spend hours filling out, a request for any kind of funding opportunities. And then the last portion is the qualify. So we like to find ourselves on saying we help people find, apply, and qualify. And the qualify portion, Sarah, is where the AI really, like the apply portion, the AI really kicks in. But the qualify portion is where the AI really kicks in. Our secret sauce, contrary to a lot of competitors of ours, is before ChatGPT, nobody knew what we were talking about when we would say, hey, we're working on an anticipatory texting tool. And people would look at us like, what? Anticipatory texting tool? And we would say it's going to correct for grant writing mistakes. And the closest analogy we would give people is say, it's kind of like Grammarly. And it was like, Grammarly, but instead of correcting for grammar mistakes, it's going to correct for writing mistakes, right? And now they would go, and since ChatGPT revolutionized the world in November of last year, October, now it's simple. People get it right away, right? Generative AI. Okay, now it could help us really do stuff. So we're in the final stage of our beta for generative AI. So the ability for you, Sarah, to say, hey, I love what I'm doing. I want to find, I want to apply, but I also want to qualify for these funding opportunities. So that last portion is really what we're all hands on deck on, to really enable people to say, if I have an idea and I think it could change the world, I'm going on Happly. And we're proud to say we have over 30,000 users on the platform. And at the end of the day, we're not revolutionizing the world. We're not going to solve climate change, and we're not curing cancer, Sarah. But guess what? I make you a promise. We will be the platform that helps fund the innovator that is going to cure cancer, or that is solve climate change.
Yeah,
be that tool for them.
So, how do you feel about the future of venture capital in Canada?
I think it's doing okay. Canada's always been a lot more prudent, if I could use that term. Our banking system is a lot more careful than the American system. I think Silicon Valley Bank hurt everybody, and that whole debacle created like a slowdown. But I think funding cycles go through phases, roughly 7 or 8 year phases, and we're bound to hit kind of a dip. I think the dip is not as hard as we thought it would be, and the recovery, I think, is going to happen around after election. I think after elections in the U.S., Canada's most likely going to go through an election as well, as they always do, kind of always close to one another.
Right.
And I think right around that, new administration, whether Trudeau gets reelected or Biden gets reelected, I think that there will be a massive incentive on governments supporting economic endeavors by the private and public sector, which includes venture capitalism. So I think the VC space still needs a lot to do. I'm still shocked that we don't have data on Black entrepreneurs and Indigenous entrepreneurs and VC, and we have it in the States. I would love to have it in Canada, because every time you come up with that data, 0.02% of, not even 2%, right? 0.02% of VC funding goes to Black women entrepreneurs. People are like, what? But that's America. And then people are very quick in Canada to go, yeah, that's America. America's the racist one. Canada, we're not racist. But that's a common thing. That's how Bay Street thinks versus Wall Street. That's how the VC space also thinks. That's how those are the positions and kind of I'd say the positions that a lot of these VC firms take, and everybody now is a DEI champion. So I'd love to see the data. I'd love to see somebody that is as courageous as Liban and Rebecca of FFBC, and they ran a report on philanthropy and discovered that we don't get enough dollars from philanthropy as well. I'd love to see what about the VC, what about the world. But I think the VC world would fight us on releasing that data, because if the data came out, I think it would be as appalling as America, and then they would have to take action. So I'm hopeful.
Yeah.
I think overall it's going to do well. I'm not that I'm that hopeful for BIPOC entrepreneur and women entrepreneur. I think are going to do well because
Right.
EDC led the way with a 500 million
Right.
founder fund. So that should kind of propel a lot of great women-led businesses.
Right. Great. So do you have any closing thoughts or calls to action that you want to share with us?
I would just say to everybody, keep doing what you're doing, keep thriving, keep innovating. LinkedIn is not real. I want to say that again.
Instagram is not real.
Instagram is not real. Take care of your mental health. Somebody else's accomplishment is not an attack on your performance. It does not belittle who you are. If everybody posted the truth on LinkedIn, you and a whole lot of people would be much healthier than they are. It's as healthy. LinkedIn is as healthy for adults and professionals and entrepreneurs as Instagram is for 12-year-olds.
Right.
And I want to leave everybody on this because chances are I'm going to post this video on LinkedIn and share it on LinkedIn. And I think it's time to have a real conversation like this, Sarah, with people like you that are doing great work. And also, I'd like to say the love of your people and the love of humans in general, whether you're black, white, doesn't matter. But the love of the melanin in your skin does not mean the hate of any other people.
Right.
And anybody making you think or feel like this might be factual, is intellectually dishonest at best, or actively practicing mendacity tactic on you,
Yeah.
your psyche. So you could love you, and you could love how you look. You could love your hair, your melanin. It does not mean that you hate anybody else. And keep doing what you're doing. I'm rooting for you, even if I don't know you. And I love you. And hopefully I see your name pop up on happly.ai.
Yes, absolutely. We so appreciate your time and remarkable leadership, Thierry. And we're going to close the same way that we began this interview, by acknowledging the original stewards of the various lands that we're on, and also acknowledging our ancestors. We acknowledge all those who toiled without compassion or compensation, and we acknowledge all of the elders and community stalwarts whose shoulders we stand on as we build, share, and learn together for the collective liberation and sovereignty. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Queen Sarah. Have a good one. Shout out to Setsi and Vic.
Yeah, thanks.